Today is March 1st, which means that it is nearly spring break, but it also means that it is the first day of Women's History Month, where we honor women for all the advances they have made.
But why is gender so important in 2022? Janessa and I, as co-heads of the All Is One Feminist Alliance, are here today to talk about some challenges that women face, both here at Westminster and in the world. What work is left to be done today?
Life is not a competition between men and women. It is a collaboration. David Alejandro Fernhead.
Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. George Bernard Shaw.
The problem with gender is it prescribes how we should be, rather than recognizing how we are. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie.
In the last century, women in the United States have seen countless improvements in their rights and liberties. Whether it be the right to vote, the ability to purchase a home, or access to birth control, these types of reforms opened up opportunities for women in patriarchal spaces. Since then, brave women have taken steps to carve out a place for themselves where they did not always belong. On a national level, we are now seeing female politicians work their way into positions of power that were once dominated by men, specifically white men. For example, a historical moment happened last week when the Biden administration nominated Ketanji Brown Jackson to be the first Black woman to serve on the Supreme Court. When I watched the news this past weekend, President Biden referred to her as a working mom. To me, this statement is problematic because it brings a woman's personal life into a discussion about her professional life. How often have you heard, "Oh, he's a working dad," when talking about a man's career? While the use of the term working mom does not undermine the progress, it does highlight the work that is left to be done. This progress is difficult because when a male politician puts on a suit, a woman politician needs to find a way to dress that honors their gender and keeps them competing in a man's position. When a female politician speaks, she cannot appear emotional or impassioned for fear of becoming a stereotype, a crazy, hysterical woman. Being a trailblazer is more calculated than it should have to be, as women throughout history have been forced to fulfill the expectations set for them by men. That burden is on women to endure discomfort in order to advance both themselves and the girls that will follow after them. Another example of progress is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. In 2018, she ran against Joseph Crowley, an older white male politician who served New York's 14th Congressional District for 20 years. As a politician, veteran, and member of the majority, Crowley possessed great power. Now, however, AOC is a name known by the majority of Americans and an inspiration to many. She shows bravery fighting against the status quo in government. Electing women like AOC means losing the institutionalized power of white men in our government. Some people think that diversifying can feel like a loss, but I challenge you to ask, what do we gain? 50 years ago, 12 women entered our school with hundreds of boys and leaned into that discomfort. They navigated sports, dress code, and social life so that we could one day call Westminster a school of coeducation. The administration took a chance and admitted girls in the place of an all-boys incoming class of students, expanding the future of Westminster School. What I ask of everyone here is, how can you lean into the discomfort to make this campus a more welcoming, diverse place? What can you do that in 50 years will make Westminster a better place for the newest kids on the Hill? The answer isn't always to create immediate radical change, but I encourage you all to try to support changes in this community and others, even if it means uncertainty.
We all sit here as well-dressed, educated men and women, thinking the world has changed because we have women's sports here, female faculty, and female leadership. Yet a lot has remained the same since first women attended Westminster. We still remain divided on our sports teams, in the dining hall, in our dorms, and even among our friends. The question of gender inequality is no longer just a problem for women. Privilege is invisible to those who have it, and it is hard to imagine what life could be like in someone else's skin while living in your own. It is a challenge, but let this be the start of a new understanding. I can only speak for the identities that I possess, but I do not make my way around this campus the same as Molly does. While we share a common identity as women, I'm hyper-aware of my gender, but also my race and ethnicity and how it affects my interactions with everyone around me and how I'm perceived based on my actions and inactions. As girls, many of us have been told to adjust and compromise ourselves, conditioned to please and to serve, and when we act as we are told, our individuality inevitably erodes and our potential is minimized. I have lost count of how many times I have been told to just deal with it, to adjust to expectations. Boys will be boys. Don't tell me the girls don't also have a group chat where they talk about boys, and so on. We can no longer conform to a society built on women's complacency and the complacency of marginalized groups. While we have 50 years of history of women walking these halls, every single one of us, until every single one of us, students and faculty alike, feel as if they can stand up and use their voice, our work is far from done. This September, when Molly and I were making our Feminist Alliance poster, we told the passerby that it was in fact for AOFA, and they said, "That's tough." He was right. It is tough. By calling ourselves feminists, we put ourselves in the position to be labeled as radicals and incur dislike. The term feminist, put simply, is the belief that women and men deserve to be treated equally, but it has been criminalized since its inception, and an aversion to it continues to this day. The misconception around the word drives people away from being called feminist because it feels nice to be accepted, and feminists are not. Despite this reality, I will not conform, nor will I be complacent, because doing so would make the work that the women and students before us have done in vain. We have the potential to create something extraordinary here, and in doing so, Westminster can become a microcosm of the world we seek to build. I challenge us all to be brave, because nothing worthwhile has ever been accomplished in the range of comfort. In the words of Luve Ajayi-Jones, "In a world that wants us to whisper, I choose to yell. And after today, I hope you will feel empowered to use your voice, because we need all genders to speak up for gender equality, even as you move on from Westminster and make your way through the world. Next time you have the opportunity to support a female athletic team, encourage a quiet person to have their chance to speak, and break the stigma around feminism as we move beyond co-education and into coexistence. Thank you." For our recessional today, Mr. Krasnowski will play the national anthem of Ukraine as we support our classmate Oleg and align ourselves in solidarity with the Ukrainian people. Translated into English, the title reads, "Ukraine has not yet perished."